little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another product review just for you. And today I have something rather interesting and unique that I found in my searching on Etsy. These are handmade flat crochet hooks. And I was really taken by the idea at the rather novel approach. Typically, when you see a lot of handmade crochet hooks, it's something sort of like the furls crochet hooks, where it's got this big handle to it, and so on and so forth. Now, the thing about the furls, one of the things that really threw me off was the price. These are not cheap. In fact, I do have a review on these hooks as well. And overall, I was not very impressed with these, to be perfectly honest, especially because the size on this one, it's a little sticker at the end here. Let's see if I can get that in focus. You know, there's just a sticker at the end of here. It's like that does not ring very well for me. And, you know, this one, it's nice, but again, the price I thought was a bit steep. Now these I took a look at and I'm like, wow, pretty nominal. They are only $8 a piece, at least at the time that I bought them, only $8. Also, the size of the hook, it is marked right in there. I believe it's burnt in, and that, you know, was impressive. It might be burnt in, or it might be with a marker, but these are sealed very, very nicely. Now, these that I bought, these are in, I believe, red oak. Let me see. Let me check my notes. Yes, these are the red oak ones that they had for sale. Now, they were $8 each for a set of 6. I figured, hey, let me just go big or go home, right? So for the set of 6, they were $37 for all 6. To me, that's pretty nominal considering they are handmade. They also have other woods that are available. Some are gorgeous. They have cherry, ash, black walnut, mahogany, and light maple. Now, of course, because these are handmade, some of them have sold out. I imagine they would be making more, but you know, you have to be patient with good things. Now, I did also do a little bit of swatching with these to see, do they actually make different sizes of, you know, gauges? Because you have size G and H and I, J and K, and L. Okay, so I did do swatches for all of the hooks with the same yarn to see, does it in fact create different sizes based on the size of hook? And it does, and I will show you those in a second. Now, as far as the hooks themselves, I want to show you a close-up. So this style of hook is very reminiscent to the style of Susan Bates, because it has sort of a sharp cut to it. Now, for some of you, that might be a bonus. For some of you, that might be a con. It really is a matter of personal preference. Personally, I prefer the sort of rounded boy style of hook. Actually, let me grab one of those. Do I have one? Ah, here we go. All right, so this is a boy style. I mean, this is not actually a boy hook, but this is the style of the hook tip, where it's a bit more rounded. It's not quite so sharp. This is the style that I prefer. Now, by the way, I never said what the company was. This is Living in the Past LLC, makers of artisan and historical soaps and other fine historical items. And so they do have their Etsy shop, Living in the Past LLC, at Etsy.com. So if they ever made their hooks more like this, I would be much, 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 much happier. However, am I disappointed in these hooks? No, actually, I'm not. In fact, I like these more than the furls. In fact, I even like them more than the like hooks as well, because the like hooks, it was, I don't have them on hand, but it was more of a cylindrical shape with no flat part for the thumb. And eventually they did start to hurt my hands. Even though I love them, I love the finish on them, the like, they did hurt my hands after a while. And my hands, they are my most precious commodity. That next to having time. Um, Now, so these, as you can see, yes, they do have that sort of sharp cut to them. That's, I would say, the only negative side to these. I think that the price is right. I love the finish to them. They are nice and they are smooth. They have that warm wooden quality to them. And yes, it is flat, but I like the way that it feels in my hand, quite frankly. And I know it sounds weird, but once you get used to it, it just sort of flows, you know. And I will do a little bit of crocheting to show you what I mean. And I will also show you the various swatches that I made up as well. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so what I did was I made a small granny square, a 3 round granny square with each of these hooks, and I stacked them so that you can see that, yes, they do make different sizes of granny squares based on the hook. Now, this is, of course, all the same yarn. I was using Pound of Love. Now, typically, with a size G hook and a worsted weight yarn, it's a little bit tricky. And to be honest, I did have trouble with the G and a little bit of trouble with the H with this particular yarn because of the shaping of the hook. That is just me personally. You know, your results may vary. But then again, typically you would be using a much smaller, thinner weight of yarn with the smaller hooks. But I wanted to give you an accurate representation of the difference. See, as you can see, I used the L hook at the bottom and the G hook at the top. And let me sort of scoot these aside. So now, as you can see, quite plainly, there is a difference in size between the G and the H. And if you put them one on top of the other, I didn't trim off my ends, but you can see that one is very distinctly smaller than the other. And then the next two, so this would be the H and the I. It's subtle, but it is a difference. And then so the I and the J is on the bottom. Now again, subtle. And of course, these squares are not blocked, so keep that in mind. And then the J and the K on the bottom. It's like, you know, you can stretch these out and so forth and block them. But I did definitely notice a difference when I was stitching. And then the K and the L. I mean, the L really, it's nice, it's loose, it's floofy. And there you go. Now, I didn't, make swatches with my normal, my quote unquote normal hooks. But that does give you an idea that, yes, in spite of the fact that the thickness of the wood for all of these is the same, okay, in spite of that, the hooks themselves, yes, it does make a difference. I would say some more distinct than others, but definitely a difference. Now, as far as actually stitching with them, let's do a little bit of that. All right, so I'm going to use the size J hook, and no, I don't have actual measurements. What's this one? Oh, J. Okay, so this is the would-be equivalent to a 6mm hook. And let's just do a little bit of stitching. Now, you know I'm an absolute nut for granny squares, so let's do a little granny swatching here. And it did take me a little bit to get used to the fact that this is flat and the shaping of the hook itself, because it's not what I normally use. But I really do like the way that it feels in my hand. I will say that. And it did surprise me. Also, these are extremely lightweight, but they do not feel like they don't feel like balsa wood. I mean, if it did, and if they felt flimsy, then I would definitely say so. Now, also, because of the cut of the hook, just like with the Susan Bates style, you do have to be careful that you get all of the plies of your yarn. And that was something that I was having issue with at the beginning of my swatching, not catching all of the plies, but this is no different than the Susan Bates in that respect. I had the same issue with those, so I'm not going to hold it against these hooks. So as you can see, yeah, it does work exactly as a normal, quote unquote, normal crochet hook would work. And I mean, when I crochet, even with the boys style, I do make little mistakes and flubs as well. Nobody is perfect. So, oop, see, I do this with the other hooks as well. So as you can see, it is a pretty smooth experience. And then, you know, do my usual slip stitches because, well, that's what I do. There we go. And slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch, and slip stitch into the space, and then continue on. So yeah, they totally work, and really, I am not disappointed. I was afraid that I would be because of the hook shaping, but it really is not as much of a deal breaker as I thought it was going to be. Now, in the pictures were very clear as far as what I was buying. I was not under any misapprehension or delusion or anything like that, that it was going to have a more rounded hook style. The pictures were accurate. So I knew perfectly well what I was buying when I was buying it. But the idea of a flat hook, I'm like, wow, it's novel to me. And I'm always interested in checking out new things. And I am not disappointed. So would I recommend these? Actually, I would say yes, for a number of reasons. For one big reason, I always think that it's a good thing to support artisans, no matter what it is that they're making. Okay, see, I missed one of the plies there. There we go. I do think it's good to support local artists. I do think that especially if the items are handmade, then they definitely deserve some attention and some credit. I like the fact that they are made out of wood, because these, I would say these actually could easily have been made with a 3D printer. And I'm happy that they're sticking with natural materials. Also, the price, to me, the price is right. Definitely. Considering that they're handmade. Especially when you consider that you can get a regular aluminum hook at a big box store for, you know, $3, $4, and these are handmade. And they are natural materials, and I'm impressed. See, like I said, you know, like once you get into the groove of it, it goes nice and smoothly. By the way, this video is not sponsored in any which way, shape, or form. After I bought them and after I was notified that they were on their way, I did notify the seller. Yes, by the way, I am going to be doing a review on your product, but I didn't want to say that prior to them being shipped. And they were shipped very, very nicely in an envelope, and they were really well packaged with bubble wrap. And the other thing inside was that card, and that was it. And that's, oh, and there was also an invoice. Yeah, I was very pleased with the shipping. It was very prompt, and everything came in one piece. And so no complaints there. So yeah, between the price and the craftsmanship, I am delighted. In spite of the fact that it's not the typical shape that I would go for, hey, I'm grooving. You know, I love it. And so I would definitely recommend these for yourself if you are a stitcher, or for somebody else if they are into stitching. Now, would I recommend these as a hook to learn how to crochet with? No. Offhand, I would say it would be good if you already have an understanding of how to crochet first and then try these. But using these straight out of the gate, I would say go with more of a store-bought version first. And then if you're looking for something with more of an ergonomic handle, then yeah, definitely go for it. All right, so I think that that's enough of a swatch to show you guys. All right, so listen, overall, how would I rate these? I would rate these, you know, out of a 1 out of like a 1 to 5, 1 being, you know, leave it, a 5 being take it. I would say a 4. To be fair, I would say a 4. You know, because well, I mean, this is totally nitpicky, but the lettering, I think it could be perhaps a little bit smoother. I'm not sure what that is exactly. I'm assuming that that's sort of their insignia. And also, if this is written on with marker, I would suggest using a wood burning tool. That would be really cool. The hooks themselves, I didn't have any issue with, but the only thing that's keeping me, I would say, from giving it a 5 out of 5 would be if they could just sort of round these. I didn't want to do it myself. I didn't want to, sort of sand them myself because that would ruin the really nice finish on these. So, that being said, I give them a 4 out of 5. I think that that's fair. Alrighty. So, that being said, I hope you found this interesting and informative. And if you want to check them out, again, it is Living in the Past LLC at Etsy. And yeah, so show your support, check them out, and I hope you liked this. If you did, check them out. And also, of course, give a little thumbs up down below. Show your support because I appreciate your appreciation. And, hit subscribe because there's always videos to come, whether it's crocheting or knitting or audiobook narration, my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games. And of course, I too have an Etsy store. The links also to this store as well will be in the description box down below. So, hey, listen, until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody.